Nicholas Bornois again of Capital Link. I'd like to welcome you to our session, to the panel on coastal and short sea shipping, leading the green revolution to zero emissions. Narve Mjos from DNV is going to moderate a great group of panelists who are going to take us through all the innovation and great work being done in green technology. This is something unique happening in Norway and with applicability throughout the world. Narve, thank you for putting this panel together, and thank you to all the panelists for joining us. I will turn the floor over to Narve to take over.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm sorry that something has gone wrong here with the video. I don't know what it is, but we are certainly tested it on beforehand. So my name is Narve Mjos. I'm Vice President in DNV, and I'm also the Program Director for the Green Shipping Program, which is a public-private partnership program. And it's also a national program and a tool for green competitiveness. We see a paradigm shift in the maritime industries where emissions will be regulated and get a cost, both directly and indirectly. We will see green demands from the market, from investors, employees, and the public in general.
Yes, yes.
We in Green Shipping Program think that climate change and new requirements is a significant business opportunity that we must take advantage of. The vision of the program is to establish the world's most efficient and environmentally friendly shipping. The program is about profitable emission reductions, sustainable logistics solutions, green jobs, increased competitive advantage, and taking a leading international position. The Green Shipping Program is a joint effort where all major players in the value chain are participating. That is cargo owners, ship owners, yards, ports, and also vendors of technologies, green fuels and services, and also governmental agencies. We started up 6 years ago with 16 participants, with 16 private companies and 2 ministries from the government, the Climate and Environment and the Trade and Industry Ministry. Today, we have passed more than 70 participants altogether. And why are we joining the program? First of all, it's a learning program. We learn from our vendors, from our customers, and even from our competitors. We would also like to achieve economic growth, cost reductions, and competitive advantage. And we would like also to influence future regulatory, financial, and procurement policies and incentives. And last but not least, taking a leading position within green shipping. Most of the green technologies and green fuels started with use in our fjords and between our islands. If we shall reach the IMO and the EU goal and also country goals, green technologies must be able to take the step and make the voyage from coastal shipping to short and deep sea shipping. Some technologies can do this, others not. We see that some of the ship owners participating in the program, they are typically deep sea companies. And they are participating in the program also to learn in such a way that they can take advantage of green technologies also within deep sea shipping to their advantage. The Green Shipping Program has initiated 33 pilots, whereof 8 are realized or under construction. At least 5 of them will be mentioned here today. In my panel, I have 5 companies. I have one ship owner, Color Line. I have 2 cargo owners, Heidelberg Cement and ASKO. I have 1 shipyard, Vard, and 1 leading technology provider, Kongsberg. All of these organizations has the same vision to be a leader in the green revolution to zero emissions. And also the questions I will ask afterwards are basically the same for the first question. But you will see from the answers and also from their presentation that the challenges and also their perspective is a bit different, whether you are a ship owner, a cargo owner, a yard, or a technology vendor. With this, I pass the word to Trond Kleivdal, the CEO in Color Line. Trond, please take over.
Yes, thank you, Narve. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Good. I'll just share a presentation. And you see my presentation also?
Yes, that's good.
Very good. Thank you, Narve. And as you say, from a ship owner's perspective, the challenges towards 2030 is clear. We have to reduce our CO2 emissions as soon as possible, and we have to understand and comply with new rules and regulations, ideally, before they are put into force. Our present focus is, of course, to operate our ships as energy efficiently as possible. These measures will make it easier to comply with what's ahead of us. And firstly, we contemplate that new global requirements for each individual ship will be decided upon IMO's MEPC meeting in June. The EEXI and CII indexes will be absolute. If you don't comply, you will not be able to operate. And secondly, the initiative to make zero-emission fuels more competitive by implementing different market-based measures, either through emission trading schemes, which is the EU approach, or through a global levy. The third factor is the most unpredictable one, and that is political, regional, or national requirements beyond international targets and requirements. However, as being part of the short sea segment, we have some advantages in coping with the anticipated and seemingly complex and even bureaucratic set of new requirements. Our vessels operate in regular service on fixed routes, on regulated in short distances, so therefore a mix of solutions will be viable, either as standalone alternatives or as hybrid solutions. To try to navigate through this complex menu of different alternatives, we have developed a simplified scenario approach in which we are analyzing the effect of anticipated pricing of green fuel alternatives compared to the expected pricing of fossil fuel, including market-based measures. And this enables us to develop business cases and rank different investment and zero-emission fuel alternatives, which will fit our present tonnage, availability, infrastructure, maturity of technology, energy density, green credentials, and of course, price will be important ranking factors. Further, the funding opportunities and support schemes provided by the authorities will be important. That's also the case regarding the taxonomy requirements already implemented by the EU. The above framework was important when we decided to contract the Color Hybrid, the world's largest plug-in hybrid vessel when launched in 2019. built in Norway and with a content of more than 70% from Norwegian-based sub-suppliers. Today, the vessel operates with zero emission during approximately 20% of its sailing distance, including port operations. And the configuration enables us to use battery package for peak shaving, securing stable engine loads, and as a spinning reserve, making auxiliary engines redundant. And the vessel is also equipped with extensive waste heat recovery systems, with a capacity, in fact, larger than the batteries itself. So Color Hybrid is well on its way to comply with the IMO 2030 requirements. The second initiative I thought I should use some minutes on is our pilots regarding use of ammonia as zero-emission fuel on large passenger ships. Ammonia is toxic, however, represents a higher energy density and is less explosive than alternative green energy carriers. The introduction of ammonia creates new challenges related to safe bunkering, storage, supply, and consumption. And as part of the Color Line ammonia pilot, these questions have been addressed, resulting in 2 well-documented reports. Involving all relevant parties, DNV, Norwegian Maritime Authority, Oslo Harbour, the industry, and us as ship owners. And by using Color Fantasy as ammonia receiving ship, technical solutions, safety measures regarding use and bunkering ammonia as a supplement to existing fuel mix have been developed. And I must say, with very promising results. More promising than first anticipated, and we have decided to further develop this pilot together with the Grønt Skipsfartsprogram, also to include other ships in our fleet. So that's the introduction now.
Thank you very much, Trond. You have provided the ship owner perspective as of today. How can we increase the speed of the green transition? And what is most important and why? Trond, you have the...
Yes, I'm here back again. What is the most important? And in fact, how can we increase this transition? Firstly, we need to increase the research and development efforts in finding technical solutions and safety measures regarding the use of different zero-emission fuels. And at the same time, we need to find energy-efficient ways to increase green production and distribution of zero-emission fuels. And thirdly, we need to reduce, one way or another, the price of these fuels, making them more competitive than they are today. So that's sort of the main challenge in itself. And how to speed up this process? Well, I think in order to speed up the transition, the authorities and the politicians must target research and development resources or funds or even grants. We have seen this being used in Norway quite greatly to promote the speed of this transition. But then related to zero-emission solutions and secure availability of enough green energy. And what we're really talking about is electricity needed to produce demanded volumes of these zero-emission fuels.
Thank you very much, Trond. With this, I will pass the word to Lars Erik Marcussen, the chartering manager in Heidelberg Cement. Are you there, Lars Erik?
I'm here. Thank you very much. For us, the participation in the Green Shipping Program is a little bit outside, of course, what we do as a cement company. But as a cement company in Norway and North Europe, we are absolutely dependent on short sea shipping. We ship around 7 million tons per year in Scandinavia, between Scandinavian ports or between domestic ports, Norway. And a large portion of this is actually going on quite aging fleet of coasters. Now, In the green shipping program, a large work was done to identify the vessels operating along the west coast of Norway, or the whole coast of Norway. And their average age is 30 years, 30. And in shipping terms, of course, that is antique ships. So we see that the ships that we rely upon so heavily are the fleet is gradually disappearing. So we think that in order to facilitate a switch towards greener, newer, more sustainable ships, we as charterers, we as customers, we as cargo owners have to step up and realize that we have a role to play in this as well. We need to make it possible for our partners in the shipping industry to justify the quite heavy expenses in capital investments. Even with Norwegian state funding, this is going to be expensive. So we have to think long term. We cannot go shopping around on year by year rates. We are looking at doing a long-term cooperation for up to 20 years on a time charter vessel. And through the green shipping program, we found a perfect partner in the Norwegian grain cooperative Felleskjøpet. Perfect partner in as such that they ship their goods from east to west along the Norwegian coast, and our goods go from the west to east. So we do achieve a round trip fulfillment of a vessel. So right now we have quite big plans. This is one of the very specific pilot projects in the green shipping program to build the world's first hydrogen-powered emission-free 5,000-ton bulk carrier. And we have selected a design. We have found the shipping company partner here in Norway that is going to build the vessel and own it for us. And we're looking at a long time, 15-year time charter together with Felleskjøpet. So this very much is a cooperation between two companies who don't really have that much in common, grain and cement, but who need to solve their logistic needs using the same transport platform. And it's through this kind of cooperation that we see that it's possible to even build something as fantastic as the world's first hydrogen-powered vessel in a small scale along the quite heavy-seed Norwegian west coast. Thank you, Narve.
Thank you very much, Lars Erik. Same question to you. You have now provided the cargo owner perspective. How can we increase the speed of the green shift? And what is most important and why, from your perspective?
I'm afraid I must repeat what was said earlier. It has to do with cost, of course, but also making the information and knowledge that is available out there, making that available to everyone. From a chartering or from a charterer perspective, as I started out by saying, this is not our key business. This is not our core business. If you run a steel mill, then steel is your core business, and that's where you spend most of your research and development. For us, transport buyers share the information. I believe that the Norwegian green shipping program should be copied in every single country around the world if we're going to have any kind of success with this. And I believe that we need to look a little bit beyond the very, very traditional, very typical black and white competitive business of shipping. If we don't succeed in reaching the zero emission targets, we're all going to lose. So we need to approach this more from a collaboration perspective and information sharing perspective than we do from I want to be the biggest shipping company in the world perspective, which has plagued this industry for over 100 years. So I think the biggest thing we can do is share information, and a good place to start is these private public cooperations like we have in the green shipping program.
Thank you very much for that, Lars Erik, and thank you very much for the flowers. With this, I will pass the word on to Kai Olsen, who is the CEO of ASKO Maritime. Are you there, Kai?
Yes, Narve, thank you for the opportunity to present ASKO, our project, and thoughts about as a cargo owner today. ASKO Maritime's pilot project in the green shipping program is with 2 battery electric autonomous unmanned vessels that we call sea drones. You see a picture of it back me. Crossing the Oslo Fjord with 0 emissions. The vessel will be operated by Masterly in the control center on land. Kongsberg Maritime is the main supplier of technology. The vessel will be a part of a 0 emissions transport chains that also consist of battery electric trucks and battery electric autonomous terminal tractors. We expect operation from March 22. The vessels have a capacity of 16 trailers on board. ASKO Maritime is a part of ASKO, which is a wholesaler and logistic machine in Norgesgruppen. So normally we are not doing shipping business, and we are not ship owners, but we start to be that now. ASKO has 44% market share of grocery in Norway. By having control of the entire value chain and being both cargo owner and carrier, ASKO is better positioned to be able to carry out pilot projects such as sea drones and battery and hydrogen electric trucks. ASKO's goal is climate-neutral transport by 2026. To achieve this goal, we must be the driving force behind the introduction of new technology and infrastructure in our value chain. ASKO must also change logistic and business models adapted to new technology. By leading the way, we'll be better equipped to meet international and Norway's climate goals. Our customers will demand climate-neutral deliveries, so it will be a competitive advantage to lead the way towards climate-neutral transport. As a cargo owner, ASKO believes that it's important to have efficient logistic solution for the entire value chain if the goal of environmentally friendly shipping is to be achieved. Climate-neutral solution for the entire value chain is cargo owner's goal. Sea freight is only one link in the value chain. Shipping companies must make a choice of new technology, which can be a difficult choice when the solution of technology and infrastructure is under development. But the shipping companies that take the lead will probably gain a competitive advantage when the cargo owners and authorities set requirements for climate-neutral shipping. Requirements must be followed up with the right instruments that enable a long-term investment for shipping companies. As a cargo owner, we believe it's important to collaborate with other industries, technology suppliers, and authorities to succeed in making changes to greener transport chain. The Green Shipping Program has an important role in Norway, and increased cooperation internationally will provide synergies. We, as a cargo owner, believe that the good collaboration between cargo owners, freight companies, and other partners in the logistic chain can provide efficient logistics that are important for cargo owners to switch to more use of sea transport. A predictable cargo base is important for shipping companies to be able to invest in new technology. Partners in the logistic chain must see that it is profitable financially and provide environmentally benefits to be motivated. In the Green Shipping Program, ASKO has established a pilot project, Logistikk 2030, with a goal of identifying a sustainable logistics and terminal structure for sea-based in the distribution of cargo between Europe and Norway. Today, a large part of the freight flow from Europe to Norway goes via Eastern Norway and is transported further in Norway by truck or train. It will be more sustainable if cargo going to the west side of the Norway were transported by sea to the port in Western Norway, close to the destinations. The project involves export and cargo owners, shipping companies, and ports. Efficient logistic and business models must be created that provide opportunity for change to climate-friendly transport for all modes of transport in the transport chain. Good infrastructure for energy and ports must be established. Cargo owners must enter into more long-term transport agreements that create predictability and security for investing in infrastructure and technology. The authorities must provide predictable long-term instruments with financial support and tax systems. This is important to motivate long-term investment in infrastructure, technology, and energy carriers. For vessels, some options are battery, ammonia, and hydrogen. The authorities must, with the right instruments, provide security for choices for long-term investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kai. Same question to you. How can we increase the speed of the green shift? And what's most important and why?
Yes, I speak as a cargo owner and answer as a cargo owner on this. This is a difficult question with several answers. Some answers are already given, but the most important thing is to create motivation for change to cargo owners. If the cargo owners is waiting for a solution, it will take a long time. I think the cargo owners must get involved and set requirement for climate-neutral transport. It is important to reach now the climate requirement we face in the future. The cargo owners must set the environmental requirement for the carriers, and the cargo owners commits to long-term freight agreement. The cargo owners must be willing to change his business models and logistics system to meet opportunities and limitation in new technology systems and new infrastructure. Partners in the transport chain must work together to offer cargo owners efficient and sustainable transport chains that must be competitive with alternative transport options. Technology developers, authorities, and freight companies must work together to develop technology and energy infrastructure. It is now important to make the right long-term choices. It makes it easier for investors to invest. From the authorities, it is important to establish the right instruments to motivate investment in technology and infrastructure. It is also important to have instruments that motivate the cargo owner to change to more sea freight. The instruments shall be support for investment and tax systems. Instrument must motivate all links in the value chains. That's my answer.
Thank you very much, Kai, and I very much agree with you with respect to getting more cargo owners involved, and also see that they have a very, very important role to play. And I completely agree with you that if they don't, things that the green shift will take a long time. Very good. With this, I pass the word to Andreas Buskop, General Manager in Vard. Andreas, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Narve.
Good.
So thank you, Narve, for your introduction so far. I'm very proud to be part of this was a panel, and I will try to give my specific insight and perspectives to this problem. And of course, words are a lot, but I have to try to visualize it a bit. So I'll share my presentation. And I would say we wouldn't be able to be where we are today without the collaboration of the Green Shipping Program and the partners that we have done and had there. And due to that, we are actually trying now to accelerate the green shift. But of course, this is not done without any issues. So how we see this actually is more basically that there are three goals that we are having difficulties to unite. And it has been mentioned, old fleet. So we are seeking a fleet renewal as a yard. Volume is important to gain profitability and gain competence in what we're doing. In the same time, on the other side, you have the governmental and environmental issue of reducing the emissions. On the second and third goal, we are trying to do this sustainable, not just adding cost to the value chain, but doing this in a profitable way. And all these targets and goals, they are difficult to unite due to the technology risk, the capital cost, and the operational cost. So from a yard perspective, of course, we believe this is possible to be done, but we have challenges to see why should yards be the first one to start? And there is a lot of risk. But on the end, on the bench, we have a quite large opportunity here that you can increase the volume from road to sea, we can basically do the transition from fossil to renewable by a commercial track. And in the same time, as a yard, we have the opportunity here to basically develop a modern production line and use of the digital twin. But of course, all these targets is, of course, not without barriers. And how we see it is that there is a lot of pilots these days, but we need to make them commercial. There is regulations in development, but they are still unclear, and we need to have a lot of focus on that. And we see that this cost to develop is not without any, what we have in Norway, dugnads on. And today that doesn't really accelerate the pace. So something has to be done. And the way we see it is that we need to solve these issues, the technology risk, the capital cost, and the operational cost. The technology risk may be seen as stranded assets, but we can see that the base case here is the rules and regulation and the availability of technology and their cost. So through financing and incentives, this can be managed and navigated in a way that we can have a better financial model to enable green technology. Maybe through third-party ownership, this cost can better be taken by a modernized design. So, of course, we are interested to solve the cost part, but to have a better cost, lower cost, we need to have volume so we can be cost efficient. And the best way to do that is to standardize the vessels. You can build many vessels of the same type, minor adjustments, and then you get the cheap vessel. But that doesn't solve. The owner, the ship owner, also needs to have a predictability about the operational cost, because that is the third barrier that needs to be done. And we know this is not one scenario, but different scenarios in the future that we don't know about. It could be the incentives, it could be the cost of fuel, or it could be the profitability of the load. But basically, maybe Kongsberg will say about it, but digital ship, performing optimization and increasing the fleet utilization, as now Heidelberg and Fellowship is doing, will be part of the key solutions. But we believe that much of this have been done. In the early days, I'll just bring forward a few yards here that have done pilot work initially, but developed this to a good business, thanks to ship owners with foresight. The first battery vessel, MF Ampere, is now a business where we have in Norway only at least 70 vessels, and 47% of these are pure electric. So it's a lot of more vessels being developed and that are commercial available today. In the same way, we can try to look back a bit on the shorter history, like Yara Birkeland that we have been developing together with Kongsberg, where we see the great potential how that have been in the future. So with remote operation, we can reduce the OPEX, and I think this is a milestone project that may be used more in the future. And the same also goes for the project for Vescon and Norled regarding the first liquid hydrogen ferry. And we see now already today that the investment in clean hydrogen will reduce the cost. So we believe the shift is here already, but we need to take our sight off from pilots to commercializing this. So thank you, Narve. That was my introduction to Vard's perspective.
Thank you very much, Andreas. This was the yard perspective, and the same question, how can we increase the speed, and what is most important and why?
Okay, well, that is a tougher question, of course. I'll try to be specific there also, but there are many ways. And what I think is most important, we can start with the understanding of the holistic evaluation, like has been done already, to capture the short sea fleet and the possibility to optimize that. It gives the opportunity to reduce the time from concept to build a lot. And by doing that, We believe also another element could be that we have intercompany collaboration that we can build with different yards. I have a reference with the LNG business there, but basically for the yards perspective, we need to have a much better production approach, like a smart yard basically. And one of the accelerator could be actually circular economy. As mentioned earlier, the key aspect here is to get available technology in the market with lack of risk. And the best way to do that could be circular economy by testing the technology early. And that to do that, of course, you need incentives because they're not economically available yet, such as what Eidsvik have done with Viking Lady and Viking Energy. And maybe the last point here is thinking value chain development, also done in other projects where you are looking into the energy distribution to cut down the cost. We believe, of course, in time this will change. So having a modularized approach would maybe enable a better feasibility in the cost. So I don't have one answer. I have many answers, and we will test them all.
Thank you very much. And with this, I pass the word to Egil Haugsdal, President of Kongsberg Maritime. Egil, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Very good.
I'm very ready to share with you my ideas around these topics. Kongsberg Maritime is today a leading tech company within maritime industry, and we very clearly see this shift against the green solutions. We are spending about 1 billion in product and technology development yearly from Kongsberg, and more and more of this money are now spent into green technologies. And in green technologies umbrella, we also see autonomy and digitalization. I have 2 daughters at home, and I spent first 15 years of my time in Kongsberg in the defense side, and I think that is very important. But I can tell you that it's very much more popular at home when I do something good for the environment and make a better globe for us for the future. That is also the position of the Kongsberg Group's board. And they are clear that they also believe that the real business opportunities for the future is within the green development. I just saw a statistic that there is, for the time being built more carbon neutral ships, about the same number as it has been built accumulated so far in the history in the world. So this is a clear trend that we really try to take a strong position in. But there is limited opportunity now for really zero emission solutions. You have more or less only battery and coastal and short sea shipping is a good place to use this. Hydrogen is coming, and we will soon see that. Also ammonia will probably be there. But in the meantime, I think it's important also to focus on more low-hanging fruits. And there is a lot of opportunities to improve what is of existing ship with improved hydrodynamic on the sea. We also have smart power solutions and hybrid solutions, and also significant opportunities within digitalization. And we can see that 15, 20, 25% improvement is quite available today for most ships. We are seeing quite some challenges, of course, in the shift that is going on. We also have this observation that we should believe that it was the ship owner or company like ourselves or ship builders that really are driving the changes. But we see that the cargo owners is taking a much more significant roles here and represented with Heidelberg or ASKO here today. And I think we should all appreciate that. And I think that will be one of the drivers to accelerate the changes here. It is this company, they need some size, they need some ambitions, and they need to have a very clear green target. And they also need to be prepared to take some some risk in this. There is always a question about cost, and the capex on green ships are usually higher, and also the opex. So going forward, we see that autonomy is the answer. It's not the easy way to go, but autonomy can clearly reduce the cost of operating in especially in short sea shipping. And to be able to execute this, we really have to bring all parts together. The technology is there, the sensors is there, how to operate it is there. Most ships are more or less autonomous today also. You need communication solutions, you need a solution how to monitor and make sure that you are able to operate it from a remote position. You need a lot of pieces put together, and you need regulations, you need infrastructure. It's complex, it's doable, and we will do it together with some of our key partners going forward. It is important that we all stay together here, shipbuilders, ship owners, cargo owners, and technology companies, and the government most of all.
Thank you very much, Egil. I'm very glad, in particular, about the comment with respect to the cargo owners. What we have experienced in the green shipping program is really that if you are starting at the top of the value chain and make the right incentives there, it will kick down the entire value chain in such a way that everybody is running the green run. So I'm very glad for that. But you also will get the same question, Egil. How can we increase the speed, and what is most important and why?
Yeah. First of all, as I mentioned, all the pieces is there, and I think technological we could move a lot faster. But you need, it's a cost involved. It's really a big step that need to be taken. I think it will happen in Norway, and I would like to see it happen faster. To do that, we need, because we are getting a lot of support for programs, for technology developments, a piece here and a piece there. I think the government need to do a total responsibility here, to see the whole picture, to see what is needed of predictability in infrastructure, in support for not only the technology. We will make that happen, but they need to have a total plan, how to execute this, how to build out the short sea shipping in Norway, and by doing that, we could make a big step fast. I think the industry is ready, the shipbuilders are ready, and the ship owners and the cargo owners. So it's really about the government to be able to organize this as a total. I think that is needed.
I think that is really something that we should follow over to my next question. So Egil, if we put this a bit tabloid, what should the politicians do with respect to how important is green public procurement versus green regulations versus a CO2 tax, levy or fee versus support to R&D? How public procurement, regulation, CO2 tax, R&D?
All of this is very good initiatives, and it has to be a total plan so that we are not ending up only with the technology. And I understand it's not easy to do politics. Now it's hydrogen all over. It's hydrogen that seems to be the solution for everything in the future. I have some doubt. We have a lot of projects going on, and it will be an answer on some of it, but it is not the only answer. They need to take a broader picture, and they need to think through infrastructure, how to charge vessels through the coast, the whole coast, how to be predictable on cost for ship owners who operate the ship, and make sure that it's a lot who's not done. So I cannot point on one of them, these things, but yes, technology is important, and we appreciate the support that is coming that way, and it's a lot, and we are very happy with that, but that is just not enough. You need to do it all. Maybe also within the text. I don't like text, but it's a way of fixing problem to put tax on the one who is creating pollution to support the one who is representing the future with zero pollution. I think that could be done more.
Thank you very much for a good answer. Trond, what do you as a ship owner think about this? How important is public procurement versus regulation versus CO2 tax versus support to R&D?
Well, I agree that we have to use all of these to make sure that we have the speed. Speed is important, but there's one thing, in fact, I would like to mention, and that is, it is also a credit to the way the green shipping program is working, because I think we need also more piloting. By utilizing the competence and the experience prevailing in the Norwegian cluster, we save time and we also reduce the risk involved, in fact, simply by working together. And it secures also knowledge transfer and that we utilize best practice. And it also allows us, by talking together in all these different settings, to think out of the box, and also as us doing big investments in this field, that we have the understanding for supporting first movers. And I think all these elements also are important.
Thank you very much, Trond. And Lars Erik, the cargo owner's perspective is this very different from the ship owner and the technology provider? What would you say?
I would say
procurement, regulation, CO2 tax, and R&D support.
I would say from our point of view, what we see is a fantastic cluster of companies, both in Norway and abroad, doing a lot of R&D pretty much on their own. I'm not saying they don't need support, but if you give good people the right incentives, they come up with the good ideas, also known as R&D, pretty much by themselves. I think the biggest thing we can see in Norway, especially from our building company perspective, we develop cement and gravel. I think purchasing. So public green procurement. If someone building roads or tunnels in Norway or the Fehmarn Belt or wherever went out and said, we want all the materials to be sustainably shipped using only green fossil-free fuels, you'd see not only Heidelberg cement going out into the market to procure emission-free vessels, you'd see all competitors doing the same, and you would actually be, by using public purchasing, you would activate capitalistic competitive competition. So I think it's worth having those two thoughts at the same time. And even more importantly than that, when it comes to R&D as well, please let's not everyone start searching for the one fuel that will solve or that will replace diesel. Everyone's asking, why hydrogen and not ammonia? Why ammonia and not methanol? I think that's wrong. All of them. We will be using 10 different types of fuel 20 years from now, where today we use primarily diesel. And I think there needs to be room for all of those. And that needs to be included in the taxation and included in the schemes that the governments are coming up with.
Well, thank you very much. And I think you had a very big point there that the government must not only show the way with respect to regulation, but they must also live the green way and do procurement and show the way to the private sector within procurement. Kai, have you any comments to this?
No, I don't think I have more comments than we already have heard about this. I follow Lars Erik in his comments. So.
Any comments from your side, Andreas, from the yard side?
Well, I can summarize. I think the last word here has been said. We see the most efficient trend is the public-private collaboration, and doing that in the procurement process will accelerate much quicker than taxes. That is clear, and we can see that from the business done with ferries. We can see that with the business done with electric cars. So I think a similar model for the maritime and the new maritime shift is needed. So let's redo the oil business like we did in the 70s and 60s.
Okay, thank you very much, Andreas. We have a couple of minutes left. And the equity and credit investors will also play an important role in the green shift. Any comments how they should behave? Penalize penalize brown transportation, or any comments?
I think we see it already happening. I think we see already now investors, both massive institutional investors like the Norwegian Bank Foreign Investment. I think we see it among private investors that are younger than all of us in this panel, favorizing greener investments. And I think it goes hand in hand with making the business cases visible. And a couple of years ago, you were crazy to invest in solar panels and hydrogen. Today, you're crazy not to. So I actually, when it comes to the investment side, I don't think we need to do much incentive. Money talks. And I think that is going to happen pretty much anyway as we move forward.
Any other comments from the panel?
If I can add there, I fully agree that it will play an important role, and we do see it already in the global shipping market. It's been quite unpredictable over many years now, so there will be harder to find money to invest in all sorts of shipping going forward. And if it's not green, it might be impossible. So I think we will absolutely, it will play in as an important factor.
Yeah. Any comments from Vard or from ASKO?
No.
Okay. Then I think we are just there, a couple of minutes left, and I think we stop there. Thank you very much for very good presentations and answers on my questions. Would you say something at the end, Niklas?
Yes, all I wanted to say is that this has been a particularly unique and insightful set of presentations and discussions. Thank you, Narve, for putting this excellent panel together. Thank you to all the panelists. I really appreciate it. And again, the agenda for our forum meant to have a very comprehensive inclusion of everything happening in Norway, and this is one of the key projects. So thank you so much for to all of you for participating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Niklas.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.